Hi, everybody. It's Laura plus Christie Real Estate and another episode of our Be Well Advised series. Today we are speaking with April Goldade. She is somebody who is absolutely passionate about home organization, decluttering. She is fabulous. So today we thought that we would just introduce you to her. We couldn't tackle, obviously, decluttering a home, and I certainly am not interested in showing you all of my nasty spaces that desperately need decluttering. So we just wanted to introduce you to her so that when you are ready to make these kind of changes in your home or looking to declutter, you can use her as a resource.
Yeah, April, she's a wonderful person. She has a passion for design, organization, and really all things homey. She writes an awesome blog at aprilgoldade.com. And really, she's all about creating space in your home and having intention in doing so. So we're excited to chat with her and just get some insight into organization and decluttering and just the thought process behind it. And welcome, April Goldade.
Hi, ladies. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thanks for joining us today. And I love that we're talking about, I think, something that everybody's tackled over this last COVID time is what am I doing inside my house? And looking at like, wow, I've got a lot of stuff happening here. So I love that you have your website, aprilgoldade.com, and it's your blog that helps people create space in their home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's super timely right now because this morning I woke up and I came out to the kitchen like I do every morning, and I just start turning corners and opening drawers, and the anxiety just kept building. And the kids come downstairs and they're looking at me and I'm kind of slamming things and things are all disarray. I go upstairs, Bryn can't find her shirt. And it's just like my house is completely disorganized. And then so the kids got home. Bryn said, this was funny. She said to me, I said to her, do you want some breakfast? She goes, no, I just want to get to school. I was like, okay, I got to dial back the anxiety here because all she wants to do is get away from me right now. So anyways, and then it was kind of interesting because I was going through social media while I was drinking my coffee, and it said, how much of your house would you re-buy if you had the chance today? And Christy and I talked early about this. We were like, I don't know, 10%. Like, it's just so timely right now for you to kind of come on and chat with us about this.
Yeah. Well, this is kind of my jam, and it's interesting because totally going through the last few months of how we have been, a lot of people have been the same, like just able and having the time to dissect their homes and kind of look into the amount of things that they have.
Yeah. So if somebody's trying to get organized, where do they start? Because it's pretty overwhelming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Totally. So kind of just back to like even your situation, Laura, and stuff is like, that's usually those are the tipping points is someone is like, okay, I'm done. I can't handle this anymore. And so it's easy to jump in and just start clearing things out. But really, if you don't go into it without a good plan and a reason, like an end goal in mind, you kind of you're just going to be spinning your wheels and you'll probably end up back where you are in 6 months or 12 months or whatever it is. So I always just say that it's super important to sit down and lay out a plan, figure out your goals, and know why you want to do this. So that's where you start. It's not really necessarily a physical space, but that's where I believe that it has to start there.
Well, and I just find it so overwhelming, right? Because like we have these houses and most of us have kids and husbands and hobbies and toys that the kids have outgrown. And it's like, okay, this weekend I'm going to dedicate to doing this, but it just feels too much. So like, do you recommend we chip away at it and kind of, I guess you're saying do a plan. So you're one kind of full sweep or just how do you kind of go about it?
Yeah, and it's really, it is so different for everybody. It comes down to personalities, what's realistic for timeframes, all that sort of stuff. So you can identify a lot of that when you sit down and plan it out. I'm a big believer in starting small and kind of taking small steps because it's such a psychological thing too, is that our mind starts, that we see progress that way a lot faster. And so we start to build momentum and we see results. So it makes us feel better and more accomplished. And we know that what we're doing is actually working. So you can kind of stay on track. And, you know, as far as if it's a clean sweep for someone, I mean, obviously the Marie Kondo philosophy is awesome in so many ways, but it doesn't work for everybody too, and their mindset and what they're just available to do. So you can either pare it down by doing categories or doing rooms. And you kind of, my suggestion is always sort of to really think about the pain point. Just for example, it could be someone's mudroom. Like if that's your main point of entrance as a family coming in from your garage or whatever, it often can be a catch-all.
So pain point. So is that like your worst room in the house?
Pardon? Sorry.
So is pain point your worst room in the house that you just?
Yeah, like the worst area. That exactly. That is like, that just drives you crazy. Like for me, it's a junk drawer. I hate junk drawers. Like,
Too. I actually, yeah, I've got 2 large junk drawers.
But that's just, but everybody's, and again, that's where everyone's different, right? So it's really about, you have to customize it to what works for you and your family and your needs. So.
Well, okay, so, but how do we keep it that way? Like, I know my junk drawers, I will go on a spree of like, okay, everything out, organizing it, I'm putting it all back in, and then literally 4 weeks later, I was like, I swore I had like 8 pieces of tape or like packages of tape in there, and none of it. And it's driving me nuts, and I can't find anything.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard because obviously there's other hands in your house as well, and junk drawers and I think that's why I don't like them, because they kind of already give that allowance that this is where it's the catch-all. This is where things come to die, or I don't know where they go, or I don't want to put them back where they're supposed to go. So this is where I put them. That's where I do think like everything having a home and creating consistency. And it's not something that happens overnight. I truly think that, and this is something that I've been doing just naturally in my life for many, many years, because it's something I enjoy doing. But as I have dug deeper into like the psychology behind it and actually being in homes with other people and things like that, I'm really realizing that it comes down to what you need. So like creating good habits, I guess you could say, and consistency, and having that, okay, this is what I want, is say just for a small goal is I want to make sure that everything from the kids' playroom goes back to the kids' playroom at the end of the day. They can bring it up, they can, play in the living room with me as I'm working at the table or whatever, but that's goal number 1. Then it's about, getting that consistency that the kids, okay, at the end of every day, this is what we're doing. We're taking everything back down. It's, it's changing habits. It's creating consistency and kind of new philosophies, I guess, through your house.
So that's what I find too, is like in our house, I have a habit of like, whenever the kids bring stuff down, I put it all on the stairs. The next time they go up, they need to take it up. And I say to them, as every good mom would, please put it where it belongs. But I don't even think they know what that means, because if I was to put it where it belongs, I'm not even sure I know what that means. So like, how do you instill that in your kids? I guess you have to do it from an example, right? So I need to be able to teach by example and say, okay, this is actually where coats go. They don't get piled up. Yeah. Oh, shut it.
Christy, sorry.
It needs to be more organized, apparently.
Well, but you nailed it, Laura. Totally is like it. Honestly, because it's been a huge struggle for me in the sense that I've had this with a lot of feedback from people, is getting the rest of the family on board, and it is about leading by example, because at the end of the day, this is, I mean, as a family, you kind of have to come together and what works for you and things like that. But ultimately, a lot of times the mothers are the ones that are kind of at the helm of this. And so if I want my home organized and in a certain manner, I have to take that responsibility. And but it doesn't mean that you lower your expectations, and it doesn't mean that you don't, you don't have those expectations of everyone to pitch in. And another thing too is like getting them involved in it as you're going through, like say for instance, their rooms and stuff. My son's 6 and we go through at least twice a year, and he hates giving up toys. Like it's the worst thing in the world that I'm like making him get rid of toys, but it's also a time for us to clear out, but him to kind of decide where he wants to put things. Now, if it was up to him, everything would be out on shelves, and that's just not how it is. But, and that also then when I say to him, okay, go put your Transformers back, he knows where his Transformers go. So.
And it has to feel good to them. Like I do think that they do feel better as opposed to it just being, launched into a pile and that's the end of it.
Yes. Yeah, totally.
So you're launching, speaking of launching, you're launching an online program.
I am. Yes. I'm very excited. I'm doing an 8-week course where it's like a digital course, but I'm, it's kind of great timing because our world lives on Zoom right now. So where we do weekly meetings and coaching calls, and we go through, I take them through an 8-week period of them decluttering their home. And so we start off with setting the plan and getting to understand kind of more internal stuff of why they're doing it, what they need for their family, giving them opportunity and tools to speak with their partners and the family of this is what I'm setting out to do and these are what I want, and then taking them through the declutter process, and then the maintenance side of it. So like building habits and things like that we'll be doing throughout, but then just some different automation hacks and things like that they can do to make it easy and hopefully maintain. So
sounds awesome.
Where can they find that program?
So I'm still just working on my final parts of the sales page. I am actually doing my webinar next week. And so that information will be up on my website by Sunday. So they can just go to aprilgoldade.com, and there'll be information there for the webinar, which will give more. It's a free webinar, but it'll give more in depth about what the course is going to be about and just if it's right for them and things like that. So
that's neat.
Yeah.
I guess if we're looking at this, okay, so how can we relate this back to Laura and I's business?
Yeah.
So I know our number one question that we get from clients that are getting ready to list their house, they're like, what do we do in our house? What can we do? What do we got to do to get ready to list? And so I would love to hear your point of view, because most of it's always like kind of that declutter process. But how do we position it for sellers that listing your house it's not easy. It's like a big job. So what would you recommend sellers do to tackle that?
Yeah. It's the same. And the great thing is it kind of gives them a jump start on having to do it, because it can be a task that people procrastinate with for a long time. But in my experience and kind of what I've learned through this is that it's about your potential buyers will go through everything. And you guys can obviously speak to this way better than I can, but from my understanding, they'll go through everything. So they want to be able to walk into that house and imagine themselves living in it. So they want to make sure their stuff will fit, that their furniture, that there's enough storage, things like that. Definitely clearing as much of sort of your surface level that you can. Countertops clear, as much wall space as you can clear, taking out big clunky furniture, things that will allow them to kind of see the more grand space is what I suggest. This is hard for people, but sometimes taking down, depersonalizing it in a sense of maybe getting rid of, if you have a big picture wall and things like that, taking that down. Hallways are big. A lot of times they can be those homes for picture walls, but they can also close that space in. So clearing those out. Your entryway, you want it to be welcoming, so pare it down. Obviously, making sure there's not clutters of shoes, and utilizing the space that they have to house the minimal amount of stuff that they need to continue living until their home sells, is kind of how, I guess, to sum it up. Because even
go ahead.
And pantry and things like that, like people, you walk in and that's what you want to understand is like, how much room do I have to put my things in?
Yeah.
That's what we always say to our people is, take off kind of the first layer.
Yeah.
seems to resonate with a lot of our clients. And then beyond that, make sure that there's spaces so when the buyer comes through, they can envision putting their stuff in that space without it looking like there's not enough space because you're kind of overloaded all the areas, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's the similar suggestions, I would say, for sure. And I mean, and then obviously like the rooms that sell, in my opinion, are kitchens and bathrooms and kind of, the family areas. Laundry rooms, don't ever let a laundry room go unnoticed, because I don't know, I look at a laundry room when I look at homes.
Oh, it's like ground zero of production. I mean,
Totally.
if you use a clean set of like sheets in there or like full 5 loads of laundry,
Yeah,
it's dead to me.
Exactly.
Do you have any stores or go-to places where you would purchase stuff for bins or containers or
Label makers.
Yeah.
labeler?
I do love my label maker. I'm also big on sustainability as much as you can be. A lot of people get caught up with like the magazines, which I do too. I love them all, and it's so easy to see like the perfectly simplified everything unison, but it's sometimes not reality. And also then you could go out and purchase those things and actually not even start your decluttering process. So one thing I would just remind people to be is conscious of that and kind of know and have your plan where you're going to put things before you go and purchase them. I'm a big HomeSense winners person. I don't know, you can always find such great things there, and organizers like for your drawers, for your fridge, all that sort of stuff, your pantries. And then obviously online, Amazon. It's always, I love to touch and feel things. So that's a big part, like just quality and things like that. There is the Container Store, but I've been on like a lookout for something Canadian that you can find, that a Canadian brand that I could work with, but I haven't really done, I guess you could say, to that scale either. I feel that, to go to something like that, you would be doing quite a large scale of an organizing job. So, and another one that I like, it would be like, I don't want to call it multi-level marketing. That's not the right word for it, but it's called 31. And they do, so there is like marketers or whatever you want, account managers or whatever that they have for it. But so it's like a home-based business, but you can order through them, and you can personalize everything. You can get, like, say if you want to personalize bins for toys or with the kids' names on them, or gloves, toques, whatever you can. And it's really cool. They have great styles. The quality is awesome. They have really cool fabrics and stuff, and like men's sports gear and stuff like that, small things to fit under your bed. So I really like that one. It's a little bit more costly, but you can really personalize the space that way though.
And it's called 31?
31, yeah. And it's actually like the number written out, 31.com. And I think you can go on the website and then you just punch in like your location and it'll tell you who your sales reps are in the area.
Oh, that's a really good hint.
Yeah.
Good little tip.
What's that?
That's a good tip. I like it. I'm gonna
yeah, it's just something to, like, I even think about, just for personalizing for gifts for people and things like that too, right?
Yeah. Well, that's a good one.
Well, this has been awesome. I think this has been informative, and I feel like I need to start setting organizational goals.
Just sign up for your class.
yeah.
And I love that you have your website, aprilgoldade.com. I've been on it. I love your blog. I have bought some pillows for my master bedroom. I am creating a space.
Nice. Good.
Love your saying of taking clutter to calm. I think that it rings true. And I think everybody loves to live in a comfortable, clean, tidy, organized space.
Yeah. And it's our home. Like you gotta love it. And it's supposed to be your sanctuary. So you don't want to be anxious and feel overwhelmed by it, which it happens. I mean, life happens, right? And that's, I think, the biggest takeaway is that it's a journey. You're not, like I said, you're not going to do it once and then you're done, because life happens. So
awesome.
Very good tip. Thank you, April. This was awesome. We appreciate the time.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me.
Okay. Bye.
Talk soon. Bye.